So yeah, we have a couple of questions we need to address before we get into the real guts of the segment. Aaron Tapp, and this is Johnny. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for joining us.
How about the rest of you boys? Doing all right?
Everyone
Doing
good?
all right. Doing all right.
Yep.
Look a little lively here.
Feeling pretty godless. Good.
So Aaron Tapp.
Just kidding.
Aaron Tapp, he has 3 questions.
Okay.
His first question is, how do Muslims feel when someone leaves the teachings of Islam behind them and totally adapts a different lifestyle? Are they considered traitors?
That's a good question, but no, they're not considered traitors. It's not an army we're amassing here. It's a
stupid
faith.
ass.
So just want to throw that out there and let him know. That is a good question, really. No, really, it's just a sad thing. I think that any religious group would feel saddened by someone leaving the teachings. If you feel that you have the answers, you'd be sad to see somebody leave.
Right.
But in Sharia, is there any sign of disownment or discredit when that if someone were to leave the fold?
Well, sure. I mean, if you're not a Muslim, then you can't participate in those things that we do, as in our Ramadan, our festivals, things like that. I think that pretty much goes without saying. You can't really attend church functions if you're not a church-going member.
I don't know why you would anyway.
Yeah, for the record, I'm an apostate, and my faith doesn't.
Dude,
That my people don't like me.
Well, apostates are worse than Gentiles, dude. They're looked down upon.
Yeah.
And that's all I was meaning when I asked you that. I didn't mean I don't know. I think it may have been misconstrued. I was just wondering if there is some specific judgment that is almost held due to something in Sharia.
Well,
outside of the church.
Does Sharia or does the teaching say that anything about it, that there is any sort of title bestowed on a person who leaves?
A disbeliever, I guess, would be the title, or kafir.
Okay.
It's not something where, I'd imagine there's areas of the world where you'd become a social pariah or something to that effect, if you're living in an Islamic country. Cool. But, there's Jewish people and Christians living in the Middle East. It's not just in Islam.
So, in the Utah Muslim community, if someone does do that, is there something that goes on outside of church, just in social situations that kind of, I don't know, are they still friends? Are they still...
Are they ostracized? Is that
yeah, sure, yeah.
I'm sure they are to a degree, but, that's something where we have to look at really, in our faith, we've been told that it's not our place to pass judgment on anything or anyone because we're not the judges.
Awesome.
It's good ethic.
Yeah, it is. And so, Aaron, he had 3 questions. That was his first one. Here's the second one. Do women have to walk a certain length behind their husband out in public, and can the woman talk to anyone else?
Okay. The woman doesn't have to walk behind her husband. No, that was something that's more of a tradition really than a rule or anything like that. There's nothing in Sharia that says you need to walk behind your husband X amount of paces.
Wives, women.
But it is a practice.
It is a practice in some countries.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people who walk side by side with their wives when they're shopping and out about doing whatever it is they're doing out. But there is actually some negative connotation to that because of the Taliban regime, and that was a rule that they were enforcing in certain countries. And there's actually a really funny joke. Katie Couric interviewed an Afghan woman who was still walking behind her husband, and she asked her, she said, the Taliban regime has been overthrown in this area, why are you following this oppressive rule if this rule isn't being enforced anymore? And she laughed, and she looked at Katie Couric, and she said, because of the landmines.
That just goes to show that it is a geographical thing.
Because survivalist.
When you drive to Walmart, Walmart or Mickey D's or wherever, you're not worried about landmines.
In America.
Well, and I think
that's what I'm saying.
That goes to show you too. They're talking about They're talking about behind every man there's a smart woman, something to that effect as well.
I believe that too. So, Aaron Tapp, his third question is Jesus the most quoted prophet in the Quran?
No, actually he's not, but there's a group of Christians, I believe they're Southern, that would have you believe that that was something that they came up with in order to prove that Jesus was theirs. It was something that belonged to Christianity, and they used that to kind of pry open the Quran under a different light, really. No, actually Musa or Moses is the most talked about and the most quoted prophet in the Quran.
See,
good to know.
Yeah, dude, that's news to me, dude.
All of those Southern, kind of they had a preconceived thought of how they wanted that to sound, and then these assholes in the media only propagandized it and spread it to the four corners, because I think that was kind of almost a sarcastic question, because I don't think he honestly even believes it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's still good information. It's good for people to hear that. So
I'm
glad, and I appreciate the questions, Aaron. So thank you, Aaron, for those questions.
So we're going to play a clip here that we really want to record Johnny's reaction to. It's by Louis Farrakhan. Is that correct?
Yes, the leader of the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, he's the leader of the Nation of Islam, based out of Chicago, and I'm going to play a clip here that's really interesting. It had some fascinating things that were said that we really want to talk about. So, Farrakhan.
I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think God would give his only begotten son for this world? Think about it. Just think. Look at the world that you live in. How rotten it is. We voted for our brother, Barack. Beautiful human being with a sweet heart. And now he's an assassin. They've turned him into them. You didn't hear me. They turned him. They brought him to England. See? Oh, now he can stay in Buckingham Palace. Nobody stayed there. Just a few presidents. Why him? Why? See, we know this enemy. See, America can sit down tyrants, but who will sit her down? She puts her trust in her weapons of war. She threatens the nations of the earth, and has my brother calling for the assassination of brother Muammar Gaddafi. What has he done? I can defend that man. You don't know that man. See, you're a victim of that media that's controlled by satanic forces. My poor brother, they're bombing. They said they were only going over there for humanitarian reasons. We're going to stop Gaddafi from killing his own people, and we believe that. You've been deceived. You talk about a man killing his own people when you lie to the American people, saying that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. When you lie and then take innocent young men who come to serve their country and send them to die in Iraq, in Afghanistan, over lies, that's a murderer in the White House. Who will say it? I will, because I have a power behind me that is bringing America to judgment as we speak. Don't be afraid. I'm talking.
So that's a really powerful clip and some very powerful things that Farrakhan is saying. And the setting of the speech, he's just speaking to some of his fellow Muslims, and some obviously very conspicuous and planted FBI agents. Those are the only white people in the video. You know, if you go onto YouTube, you can look up this video. But excuse me. So, what is your reaction, John, as a Muslim? What does this mean to you? What is this?
Well, first of all, I want to say that sucks for them because at least they stay outside of our mosques and they don't come in. So.
Oh, the FBI agents.
So
Hey, you never
think.
know. You never
Yeah.
know, dude. They're sneaky fuckers, dude.
I reviewed that video with you actually, and it is very obvious who is there for what reason.
It's the little white dude. Looks like he's wearing a wig, and he's just like looking around for people's reactions.
Yeah,
when they start clapping, he starts clapping.
He looks kind of scared and terrified. He's
Yo,
definitely out of his element.
Oh yeah. And he should be. Just kidding, John. Yeah. So what do you think about the content of the speech?
Well, it was definitely a really powerful speech. He's a great speaker, and he's got a lot of great things to say. I think he made some really valid points there. He had some great things to say about the media control and about humanitarian reasons as the guise for invading foreign countries. Like I said, a humanitarian budget doesn't have any margin for artillery shells and ammunition. So
Right. Yeah.
I think there's something to be said there as well.
Well, from my knowledge of Louis Farrakhan, and I know that he likes to. I want to know where the speech goes after this clip. You know, I'm interested because in a lot of the speeches and videos and sermons that he has given, there's a lot of Jewish rhetoric thrown around that the Jews control the Federal Reserve, they control the media, they control the American government, but through lobbying and whatever. So I just want to know, I mean, did he go on to say anything?
Well, no. See, I reviewed two versions of this clip. One was the full fucking speech, okay? And the other one was the YouTube cut down version by the Young Turks. And all they cut out of it was the applauding and kind of the dead air.
And where he ended, he ended.
Where he ended, he ended. So that's the question. The answer to your question is that there wasn't a whole lot of Jew talk, but I know what you're talking about. But I mean,
it's just you take him, you put him in a German accent, and
he's a Nazi.
No, it's it's fascism, it's hate.
No, sure, and he's guilty of putting that negative connotation on Jews. He's guilty of that. But in regards to this speech in particular, what he says about, I mean, because regardless of his religion, just because I don't share the same religion as him doesn't mean I can't agree to some of his ideas.
No, absolutely. He said some very true things.
Because, I mean, dude, it's powerful what he says because, man, he has a public medium from which to speak, and he's saying things that really could get him straight up assassinated. You know what I mean? Martin Luther King style, whatever you want to put it, but, like, regardless of your religion, if you kill someone, you're a murderer. And just because you're not pulling the trigger, you sign that paper or whatever, dude. I don't know. It's war, and I don't necessarily support Gaddafi because I don't know necessarily what he's done, and I need to do my research. You know, that's.
Well, I can tell you that the Libyan ambassador, I should say, to the United States, just quit after 42 years of government service for Gaddafi. You know,
for the.
Have you seen how many people are in the streets now?
Well, you know, he quit his post after 42 years, and now he's speaking for the rebellion. And he said, he quit his state service and gave up on Gaddafi the second he saw things that made him believe Gaddafi was killing his own citizens.
Well, how many
things that made him believe, or things he actually saw?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Because Gaddafi was on the news today addressing the U.S. government and NATO forces, saying, "Don't talk to me, talk to the people."
Well, he said today that he was going to attack Europe if they didn't quit fucking with him. And my position on the whole thing is that we don't have the moral fortitude to go after this guy at this point. We have to clean up the mess that we've already made. Let's